Let's talk about Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a football team that's going to be extremely scary and very enjoyable to watch for the next couple of years. And I believe that they have their franchise quarterback and their franchise head coach for the next couple of years. You look at Trevor Lawrence from his rookie season to last season with Doug Peterson, it was a perfect example of night and day. He did not look good. He didn't look competent. He didn't look confident with Urban Meyer. And Urban Meyer was a terrible head coach, one of the worst NFL head coaches of all time. But you bring in Doug Peterson, former Super Bowl winning head coach. In his first year, he helped Trevor Lawrence develop to just 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. But he also got this team to win their division, make the NFL playoffs, be down in a major deficit against a Los Angeles Chargers team, come back in that game, and have a competitive matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs. So let's talk all about it. Trevor Lawrence last season was not perfect. After that Denver Broncos game, that's when things started to click. In that game against the Denver Broncos in London, it was a lot of miscues, a lot of missed throws, and it led to them losing the game, and they had a rushing touchdown for the Denver Broncos that sealed the game. But ever since that game happened, Trevor Lawrence had less turnovers and more things went in his way. Trevor Lawrence looked like one of the best upcoming quarterbacks in the NFL. They had the comeback win against the Baltimore Ravens. And they also had another key moment in the season that made me shake my head and say, I believe this team was legit. It was the last game against the Tennessee Titans where Trevon Walker was walking Derrick Henry back in the backfield almost every play. Games like that are team bonding wins for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's something that they need. This is a extremely young football team. And this is a football team that hasn't had that much success as of late. We go back and look at Jacksonville. That was the last time this team was competent. But since then, a lot of things have went wrong. And I believe they got the thing right by getting Trevor Lawrence's first overall pick a couple years ago. It's still a question mark with Trevon Walker. We'll see. And we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But I believe their offense is set. You look at Travis Etienne last year, over 1,000 yards rushing. He's very good. Missed all his rookie season. Averaged 5 yards a carry. Fits extremely well in the Doug Peterson system. They ran him a lot in that Los Angeles Chargers game in the playoffs, and they worked off of play action as well. And you have to give Trevor Lawrence a lot of credit to come out sluggish the way that he did, even though every interception was not his fault. He still found a way to stay in the game, keep his head up, and help will that team over the top and get them the win over the Los Angeles Chargers. As much as people want to say Brandon Staley lost in that game, Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars team took that game away from them in the playoffs, and that was a great win for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And they also acquired Calvin Ridley at the trade deadline. You're going to pair him up with Christian Kirk, who had a very good year last year, 1,118 receiving yards last year for Christian Kirk. He was an extremely good and valuable wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Trevor Lawrence averaged 13 yards a catch. Calvin Ridley is going to be extremely good in this system. Last time we saw Calvin Ridley, he was very good with the Atlanta Falcons. He has proven that he can be a #1 wide receiver, smooth, electric route runner that's going to open things up for other guys on the team and can make some moves in space. The only thing with Calvin Ridley was that he didn't play all of last season because of a gambling issue, but that doesn't bother me as much. It wasn't because of an injury. He basically had a vacation year, if that's how you want to look at it. He's going to come back, be more rejuvenated, and have something to prove, because the Atlanta Falcons basically did him dirty. They traded him away in the midst of a suspension, and they just wanted to see what they could get for him, and the Jacksonville Jaguars could potentially have a 1-2 punch with him and Chris Kirk at the wide receiver position. Evan Ingram had a career resurgence with this team. Was a guy that was always known to drop the football. Wasn't dropping too many footballs last season. 766 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns, averaged 10 yards a catch. And he was extremely valuable down the stretch of the season. You go back and look at that game against the New York Jets. Excellent game plan by Doug Peterson. Trevor Lawrence pretty much took the game over with his legs because it was raining conditions. But Evan Ingram was making some big plays in that game, and it helped them beat up that New York Jets team. I know the New York Jets have a horrible offense with Zach Wilson at the time, but that defense was tough. But wins like that show that this team can adjust from week to week, especially with the game plan and the mind of Doug Peterson. He let Trevor Lawrence use his legs, and that was the way to beat the team, was to run the football, work off of play action, and give these playmakers the ball and let those guys make plays in space. And I believe that's going to be the biggest thing to the Jacksonville Jaguars team. Last year, Christian Kirk could make some moves in space. Evan Ingram could as well. But adding Calvin Ridley to that, you can put him inside the slot, you can put him on the outside. Letting these guys get those yards after catching to make life extremely easy for Trevor Lawrence, who can also bomb the ball down the field as well. We talk about giving the ball to guys like Zay Jones, who averaged 10 yards a catch and had 823 receiving yards last season and 5 touchdowns. So this offense is set. I am a bit concerned about the offensive line. Cam Robinson will miss some time because he is suspended. That's why they selected Anton Harrison in the first round. The only thing that really bothers me about the offensive line's tackle position, you lost Jawan Taylor to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now at the right tackle position, you're going to have Walker Little for week 1. That's the scheduled starting right tackle, so we will see what he can do at the right tackle position. Maybe he will be fine, but the best thing to do for Trevor Lawrence to keep him upright, that was pretty much the main point of why he struggled his rookie season besides Urban Meyer, was the pressure he had to deal with. He's going into year 3. I expect a major jump for Trevor Lawrence. I hear all this talk about Justin Fields going to have this great MVP season. Do not be surprised if Trevor Lawrence has the same season or a similar season to guys that have had taken a big year 3 jump in years prior. Now, another thing as well, I think that long term in this next upcoming seasons for Trevor Lawrence, it would be safe to put him in the same conversation as Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. I've seen some of those glimpses before. I know it's crazy to say right now, but that playoff game can make or break a lot of quarterbacks, and I believe that it made him when they had that comeback victory against the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, we looked at their defense last year. They had some struggles, but Travon Walker busted into the scene. Didn't have the phenomenal rookie season, the double-digit sack season that a lot of people were clamoring for. But he had 3.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, a great game against the Washington Commanders. He's a guy that's going to take time to develop to be a sack master. I don't know if we will ever see him get double-digit sacks in his career on a season-by-season basis, but one thing that he's going to do is disrupt the run and stop Derrick Henry. He's the main Derrick Henry stopper. You go back and look at that game, the last game of the season against Tennessee Titans, vision is on the line. He's pushing Derrick Henry back into the backfield. He's blowing up the line of scrimmage. He's making guys miss their assignment on the offensive line, and it opens up things for other guys for them to go out there and get pass rush, such as Josh Allen, who had 7 sacks last season. So the pass rush could be a bit of a concern, but the biggest thing with the Jacksonville Jaguars is this: create havoc. That's what Travon Walker is here to do on this team. Sometimes it's not just about bringing the quarterback down. It's about just getting a lot of bias around him, making him uncomfortable to force bad decisions. In certain situations, pressure is more important than just getting clear-cut sacks. Pressure could lead the quarterback throwing an interception, getting the ball batted down the line of scrimmage for an interception. Or in certain cases, you could swing Josh Allen back and have him in coverage at certain points in times, or just let him be a pass rusher. Or you could take Travon Walker back, put him in coverage like I did against the Washington Commanders game. He blew up that screenplay and intercept the football. So I have a lot of confidence in these young defenders going forward on the defensive line. I'm just worried about them getting pressure on a consistent basis and bringing the bringing the running backs down, and the quarterbacks. Another thing that I really like about this team defensively is Devin Lloyd. Really good linebacker. You need to get a guy to come in and try to replicate what Miles Jack did his rookie season. That's what Devin Lloyd did. 3 interceptions rookie season. Is the ultimate plug-and-play guy. He's a guy that's going to go out there and stop the run, make coverage plays on the tight end, and take away those slant routes and be a thumper of the middle of the field. So I expect for Devin Lloyd to continue to get better, and I expect for these young players in the Jacksonville Jaguars defense to get better over time as well. The secondary was the biggest issue last year, but it was not because of Tyson Campbell. Tyson Campbell has potential to be one of those stud corners in the NFL. He's already a good corner, but we can talk about him in the same lights as Moss Sauce Garner in the future if he continues to develop and play. It was certain games where the quarterback could not just test him because he's all over the wide receiver. Not saying that he's on the same level as guys like Pastor Tane just yet, but he is a very good corner to keep a look out for, because in the next couple of years, he could be one of those defenders we're talking about to why the Jacksonville Jaguar teams continue to make deep playoff runs. But I'm very high on the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm very high on Trevor Lawrence. Last year was just the first year underneath Doug Peterson. Imagine what year 2 is going to look like, and imagine what year 3 is going to look like for Trevor Lawrence and Jacksonville Jaguars. Let me know how you feel about this team in the comment section below. If you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, each and every last one, guys, stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Peace.